Hi, welcome back to How to Purchase a Home in the Pacific Northwest During a Pandemic. I'm Cassandra with John L. Scott Real Estate. And well, last week we talked a little bit about high-level stuff of what title and escrow are all about. This week, we're going to talk about one of my favorite parts of buying a home, and that is the home inspections. So let's just jump right into it. So in Portland, Oregon, or in Vancouver, Washington, there are about 3, maybe 4 inspections that I generally recommend depending upon the age of your home and the location that it is. There are, on this sheet, this is for Oregon, this is the professional inspection addendum. There are 17 invasive inspections that can be completed. I use that so to make sure that if anything comes up in the whole home inspection, you have the right to inspect anything and everything that you want, but you don't have to do them all. So the first up is the whole home inspection, and this is completed by a licensed professional in both the state of Oregon and Washington, and they come in and they'll take a look at everything in the house, top to bottom. They'll look outside at the roof, the siding, the windows, the foundation. They'll look at crawl space, attic. They will check insulation levels. Good inspectors also look at plumbing, electrical. They'll check out your HVAC and your water heater. They'll look to see at, take a look at your electrical panel, water pressure. Is there any sort of water damage anywhere that they've seen? They'll just go over the entire house. And usually a home inspection takes somewhere between 2 to 3 hours, depending upon the size of the house. Don't worry, I recommend you just be there for the last 30 minutes to talk to the inspector. But after the inspection, you'll get somewhere between 30 and 60 page report with photos and information on what to take a look at and what, maybe you can work on later. The second inspection that I recommend is a sewer scope. And I even recommend this on new build homes because in order to live in a house, your sewer has to be working. And honestly, depending upon which municipality you're in, it can be very, very costly to fix. Some cities require homeowners only to be responsible to the curb, and other cities require homeowners to be responsible all the way to the city main, which can include pulling up the road and also flaggers to stop traffic. So it can get very expensive. I've seen it be sometimes upwards of $10,000 to do this repair. So that's why it's very vital for you to do the inspection, even if you think the sewer's in good condition. Next up on the inspection list is the radon test. And I receive tons of questions about radon test. Do I really need it? This, that, and the other. And I'm gonna try to answer as much as I can, as fast as I can here. So what a radon test does is the inspector will bring in this little machine usually and place it in a room, kind of on the lowest level of the house, and try to, it stays out of the way, so it's not there, it's not gonna bug you. It needs to collect data for 48-ish hours, and they require you to keep windows and doors shut. You can come and go as you usually do, but in the middle of summer, you can't have all the windows open because building materials are what hold the radon in. And if you don't know what radon is this actually the second leading cause of lung cancer behind smoking. So it's very vital that you check for it, and it can be very prevalent in some areas and not at all in others. Your neighbor could have a really high radon count and you could have none. So it's very important that you check, but usually the EPA says anything that registers 2.0 or above should be taken care of. But in a real estate transaction, usually anything 4.0 and above is where we start negotiating and talking about putting a radon mitigation system into the home. The final inspection that I recommend, especially if you're looking in the Portland metro area, is a oil tank search. And historically in Portland, a lot of the homes were heated with oil, and not all of the tanks have been decommissioned at this time. So it's pretty important that you take a look. Usually they're buried in the backyard. Sometimes you'll find them in the house, but these tank decommissions can be very expensive depending upon what you find if the tank is leaking. And they're expensive, kind of like a sewer line. So it's just something that as a buyer, I guess I wouldn't want to have to pay for. So there can be 15 to 20 other invasive inspections that we can perform, but these are just 3 or 4 that I generally recommend to just about every homeowner who is purchasing. After we've done this, we compile all the information that we've received, and we will sit down and put together a list of items that you, the buyer, want the seller to look into and or repair. We negotiate a little bit further with them, getting to a point of what they're willing to do and what you're willing to accept. If they don't want to do some repairs, sometimes we talk about either reducing the sales price and or adding contributions to closing costs, just depending upon what transaction is going on. And then we continue to move forward and help you purchase your beautiful new home. So, hope you've learned a little bit about home inspections this week. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit further about contingencies, kind of where we are in the transaction, and reviewing all of that information, getting us closer to closing. So, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful week. Bye.